So we're going to be reviewing for the inductance and capacitance section and the transformer section. First of all, as we discussed earlier, any of the math portions will include the formula. So go through those sections if you want to review the math section, and everywhere where it says online practice, through all those two sections, if it says online practice, one question from every online practice will be on the test, with the exception, I believe, of the transformers. I don't think I put a turns ratio on there. Under the rest of it, it's multiple choice. You'll need to go through the sections. If you want me to, let me record all your grades tonight, and then I can clear them out and you can retake the quizzes. That would probably be the best review I could possibly give you. I'll try to record the grades sometime tonight, and if you want yours cleared out so you can retake the quizzes, they'll be similar to those questions. So, you need to know what a magnetic field is and why it forms around a conductor. What's it called? You need to know examples of electromagnetic devices like relays, solenoids, and motors, basically anything with a coil of wire. How do we measure inductance? You guys can answer now. How do we measure inductance? What's the unit for inductance? Henries. The unit for inductance is henries. So any of those units you will need to know. What's the unit of measure for capacitance? Farads. How is inductive reactance and capacitive reactance? What is it expressed in? Ohms. So you need to know all of that. You need to know that a coil, basically an inductor, its purpose, it opposes a change in current flow. What its effects on DC compared to AC are. How does an inductor affect DC? When does we take that into account on a DC? On startup or shutdown, not while it's running. On AC, it's continually affecting the circuit. We basically don't even think about them too much in a standard DC circuit. Know what inductive reactance is? What did I tell you that was? The resistance we get when the circuit is live, or it's not really an appropriate term, but the fake ohms or faux ohms. It's the ohms we really can't measure unless the circuit's live. You've got some formulas on here, but I would say that if you would pay attention to your math section, you can probably figure those out. So the formulas are on here. I'm giving you the formulas. You can figure out the answer to the question if it asks for a formula. Know the different types of capacitors. You've got electrolytic, non-polarized, and variable. Know the effects of a capacitor in a DC circuit. In a DC circuit, what happens when I turn the power on? The capacitor charges up and it stays charged till we bleed it off. You remember when I talked about RC timing circuits and how they were used in time delay relays? They talked about it using a resistor and capacitor to determine a time. But basically, that's RC circuits are used in time delay relays. What do we remember when I put on the board about the half-wave rectifier and we stuck a capacitor in the circuit and we watched the video of what happened to the voltage? So what's a capacitor used for in a DC power supply circuit when we're powering from AC to DC? What's the capacitor used for? Steady, but that's also filtering. You want to filter the circuit. Filter out unwanted DC or ripple. Know the definition of a transformer. Know the term mutual inductance. What is mutual inductance? Well, it's how a transformer works. So if I take two coils of wire and put them close to one another and I pass alternating current through one, it will induce a voltage in the other one. Mutual inductance. Know the components of a transformer. How do we troubleshoot a transformer, generally speaking, with the power off? Continuity. Most of the time they're either blown up or not. And you measure the continuity of the coil. What's the unit for rating of a transformer? Volt amps or volt amperes or kVA. So our power relationship of that of a transformer says that the wattage in equals the wattage out or power out plus the loss in heat. So I told you that's why we use the ratio of volt ampere hours. That way we can determine the amps we put in the input and what kind of amp rating we have on the output, or vice versa, using the volt amperes. What transformer only has one coil of wire? Auto transformer. Know what a controlled transformer is? We take high voltage and we step it down to probably 120 volts AC. What do we use a center tap transformer? Remember when I put that on the board? What's the typical application for a center tap transformer? Your house or power distribution? And that's the review for the test, other than the math portion, which you just have to go online and take the online series, or if you're happy with that, I mean, you get a calculator on the test.